Everything in life is temporary, so if things are going good, enjoy it because it won't last forever. And if things are bad, don't worry, it can't last forever either. Although the origin of this quote is unknown, who and where it came from, whether it's ancient or modern, one thing is certain: everything in life is temporary. Life is filled with its fair share of ups and downs, and although we may live in the good or the bad, the opposite factor can quickly come in and make you come to terms that not everything can be taken for granted. This philosophy is deeply rooted into the game and narrative design of The Last of Us, one of the greatest games to ever be released way back in 2013. This game is universally praised by many, especially in terms of its writing, character dynamic, art direction, and music. These are also the main reasons why I treasure this game, but I am able to point out the clear flaws that the game has. Its combat is pretty boring and can become tedious at times, having to constantly run, shoot, cover, and repeat, and the enemy variety is also pretty boring, leading to repeated combat encounters that feel very similar to one another. However, despite the gameplay being a flaw, the other aspects lift this game to astronomical heights. GQ called this the second best game ever made, and although I disagree with its placement, I cannot argue with why the game is beloved. But back to the philosophy of the temporary in life. The Last of Us manages to convey this message by putting us through a roller coaster of emotions, from joy to pain and heartbreak. But although the game might be very dark and grim in its tone, the smaller moments of goodness manage to shine through. So let's start talking about how the quote-unquote good moments are presented in The Last of Us. And beware, I won't be holding back on spoilers. The Last of Us has lots of beautiful moments that make you feel emotions of joy, hope, and relief by finally reaching the light at the end of the tunnel from all the tough situations our characters have been through. However, what makes these moments stand out more and help elevate the story and presentation of The Last of Us is that these moments are scarcely placed in the grand scheme of its narrative. From a psychological perspective, how our brain reacts to constant pleasure, i.e. positive moments and scenarios, is that these moments don't feel so good anymore. Looking at the paradox of hedonism, also known as the pleasure paradox, searching directly for pleasure or being constantly exposed to it can in the end reduce the amount of pleasure we can feel in the short term and consequently in the long term. In a more real example, take playing video games for instance. If you play video games for 7 hours a day, 7 days a week, chances are you won't feel so happy about playing games compared to when you would only play them, let's say, an hour or two every couple of days. This same principle can be applied to The Last of Us. By spreading these positive moments in between long and at times painful scenarios to experience, these moments feel like nice breaks. There are some clear standout moments in the game that you quickly think back upon, like reaching the radio tower with Henry and Sam and the giraffe scene. For me, these two moments are easily the two most impactful ones in the game. The giraffe part first. This sequence is towards the end of the game and is the last truly good moment of the game, as the ending is relatively sad, so to speak. After having made it out of the harsh winter season, both for its weather and the opponents you are faced with, Ellie, visibly disturbed by the experience with David, who we'll get to later on, is distant. Joel tries to comfort her, makes small talk, and this attempt at conversation is also the turning point where I think Joel turns from designated protector to guardian. Before anything can continue, Ellie makes a dash, distracted by something. She shouts at Joel, telling him to follow. This whole moment keeps the player in a state of unease. What does Ellie see? Could be dangerous, but her tone gives us a hint that something, well, good is actually going to happen. And good is to put it mildly. As we follow Ellie out to the balcony of sorts, we see her petting a giraffe. Words cannot express this moment enough. Even trying to describe what is going on is hard. We get to see a giraffe up close, an animal that is foreign to this environment, one that we have only usually seen in picture books and is now up close and in front of us. So much so that we get to pet it too. And as we then follow it out to the proper balcony, we get a moment by the rails to look at the giraffes grazing the abandoned area, and for once in the whole game, everything feels okay. Like, everything is going to be fine. The music here is beautiful, and staring at the beautiful skyline with Ellie by Joel's side is a moment that won't be forgotten anytime soon. There's a reason as to why this is my favorite moment in the entire game, and it's the build-up that makes it so good. I mentioned earlier that good times come after long, hard, and sad moments in the game, and because of this rarity, the good times feel that much better. But with this giraffe moment, it's not just a moment that feels good, it's one where you feel at peace. You know your journey is about to come to an end, and you know that the odds are never in your favor, which has been proven to you since the very start of the game. So the game gives you one final moment, a moment where you are in control of when to move on to the final part of the game, a moment in time that can't last forever. A time where good times come and go. On the polar opposite side of the spectrum, the more common moments in The Last of Us are the moments where everything has gone wrong. The game starts off with you, Joel's daughter Sarah, giving him a watch, and just 10 minutes later she's dead. It's not often a game starts off with a beginning as devastating as this, and moreover, the game just keeps this trend going, just putting a lot more devastating events into the mix. Like the name of its most brutal difficulty option in the game does a great job at keeping you grounded in its world and story. Being grounded in a world like this, it does open our eyes and gives us a reality check on our own lives, or how quickly our lives can change through the wrong decisions, with how quickly stuff we took for granted can be taken away. One of the biggest things that got taken away, and I'm not really sure what's the right word to describe it, is innocence on two separate occasions. One happens around the halfway mark and the other right before the giraffe scene, and they both affect Ellie. Innocence, which I'm still not quite sure if it's the right term to use to describe this feeling that hits you, but it's the closest thing. In the first scenario, after meeting two surviving brothers, Henry and Sam, who you team up with for a while, Ellie finally gets to have a friend she can talk to around her own age, and Joel gets some much needed manpower with Henry. However, just as quickly as these two enter the stories of Joel and Ellie, they leave once everything seems to be going well. After an altercation with the infected and making a dash to the radio station, Sam, the young one, got bit and wakes up infected, forcing Henry, his older brother, to kill him and put him out of his misery, and takes the hope of surviving with him and ends his own life. This scene is tragic, and the innocence that is lost here is that they believed that they had a chance at a better life and let their guards down for just a moment. It shows how the world is ever moving and doesn't stop, and once you let your guard down for a split second, it can just come and hit you with everything it's got. It's a cruel tale, but it's a lesson to the characters, and to an extent us, that life isn't always going to go the way we want it to. But the biggest loss of innocence has to be Ellie's whole interaction with David and the cannibals. This section shows Ellie acting responsible, caring for Joel's wounds as he is almost unconscious, bargaining with strangers, fighting alongside David, getting captured, having to fight in a burning house against her capture, and killing him off with all her might. It's tough to watch someone in this state, no control over their emotions, just hate and rage, wanting nothing more than to kill. Joel does come in time to comfort Ellie, but the damage she has suffered has already been done. She has lost her hope in others, and this stretches as far to the second game, but that would be for another video at another time. The way The Last of Us manages to balance and present both the bright and dark sides of life is done in such a profound way. It makes the brighter moments stand out more and feel a lot more special, and making the harsher ones feel a lot more real and present. People always say that the narrative of The Last of Us is what makes the game as good as it is, but that's because of how it manages to convey its themes. Sure, the bond between Joel and Ellie is written to perfection, but it's because of the moments in life, the moments what they experience, through the good and bad, where they grow as characters, and this is why The Last of Us has one of my favorite video game narratives, and it starts from how it presents the moments that make life, life. And with that, welcome to the end of the video. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, a like, comment and subscribe all come a long way in helping the channel out. And if you didn't enjoy the video, a dislike, a comment with your thoughts also means a lot to help me improve the content that I make. With that said, I'm sorry again, I'm a bit sick on recording this, but yeah, it feels good writing and making videos again. But yeah, what have I been doing? I recently finished God of War 2018. And it's a pretty good game, loved it a lot, especially the narrative. Maybe I'll make a video on it soon, but who knows. But enough from me, thanks for watching all the way to the end, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, night, and week, and with that, Storm out.